ராசா ரைட் ஷேரிங் கம்பெனி ARASA.ca என்ற இணையதளத்துக்கு சென்று ராசா டிரைவர்ஸ் ஆப்பினை டவுன்லோட் செய்து டிரைவர்ஸாக வேலை வாய்ப்பை பெறுங்கள். மாதாந்தம் $4000 வரை சம்பாதியுங்கள். வணிக நிறுவனங்கள் ராசா இணையதளத்தின் மூலம் மளிகை பொருட்கள் மற்றும் உணவுப் பொருட்களை விற்பதோடு வாடிக்கையாளர்களுக்கு டெலிவரி செய்யலாம். தமிழில் தகவல்களை அறியாளையுங்கள். GTA பற்றி 40 ஆண்டுகள் அறிந்து கொண்டவரும் வீடு விற்பனை துறை ஊடாக மக்களால் அறியப்பட்டவருமான சிவா பிள்ளை. 416-854-0005. Taxi broker licensed by City of Toronto.
what is
Recording
how
in
it's going to be this month
progress.
of December, the production wise and so many things. I can strongly suggest, December month, you had to plan for next year. You had to have the plan for next year and don't wait until January 1st to implement your plan. Start to implement the plan every single day, except your holiday season and the party season. Other than that, keep your plan in handy and think how much money you're going to make next year. This year is almost ending it. And what we had to do for next year, do the marketing side. As I said last week, and I'm going to repeat few weeks, because some new members come in and other people may leave this, they may not attending the event. Okay, for me, this is the right time for your marketing side. Right time to meet the past clients. You had to go and meet the past clients is the right time. Do your marketing side. The marketing side, any kind of material, you can use it based on whatever you prefer. And please don't spend money. Don't use a credit card and spend too much money for the marketing side. Minor marketing is enough. Whatever the stuff you buying is not necessary. How you deliver to the products you buy is more important than how much worth of product you are doing it. The basic smaller gift is enough, but visit your past clients' houses and sit down and talk to them and have a coffee and have a conversation. Allocate the time from the whole month of December, and even January 1st or 2nd week. But still, December is a good month to do it. Thus, you have to do it. In that case, only you can get some referral next year. Referral is a good one, guys, especially friends and family members. For example, friends and family members, they may not going to buy from you. They don't want to show you that their income or whatever the reason is. But at the same time, if you ask me, give me a referral, friends and family members are allowed to give a referral and get some referral money from you. They can simply refer to you, anybody. In that case, your friends and families ask for referrals throughout the Christmas party. Make a Christmas party, smaller group, not very large group. You don't need to go to the bigger hall and get 100 people. Just as your house party, organize one or two times, organize a party in your house and select the peoples and throw some ideas in the party rather than the fun party. Throw some idea as a business party. You can do that, but okay, rent out the small condominium halls and you can even get the 75 people, 200 people. Deliver the good messages and inform them. Sorry, guys. Please inform them this is the right time for the buyers to buy the property. Even though mortgage interest is higher, the property value is lower. Buy the property with the short-term mortgages and hold the properties and give it to flip it to. I mean, get the good mortgages in after 1 year. We all know the mortgage interest rate will come down and coming June. There is no magic formula is involved. The inflation is getting under control, even though it's 6%. But so there's a debate going on whether they want to increase 0.25 on December. We don't need to increase December and January. It's a debate already there from Bank of Canada. Actually, there are some statistics saying Bank of Canada doesn't need to go to 3.75 rate, 3%. They should cap it for 3% or 2.75. Already 1% is up. That's not controlling the inflation. Rather than that one, they had to sell the bonds and take the money out from the people's hand, whatever the issue for last 2 years. There are so much debates going on. In this case, guys, I have a strong feeling fixed mortgage for sure. You come down. Another reason, the banks are not giving the deposit right now. They are going with the prime rate. Discounting only 0.2%. We used to get the deposit 1%, even though mortgage was lower. There are so many reasons interest rate will come down. What I'm trying to say, I'm not telling you, but tell your clients to tell them to buy the properties. This is the time. Ask the referral. Have a Christmas parties, minor Christmas parties. Don't spend too much money. You don't need to go too fancy. But at the same time, deliver the good messages. Deliver the good message to people. The area values, how many percentage fluctuated, what are the areas they're building the new properties, what are the municipalities spending the money to building the hospital, building the highways, building the subway system, and give everything under the Ontario side. You learn. Every day you go and learn. you will get something. Okay, that's what that's the time. Again, guys, I always give 5-10 minutes time for the to everybody to come and join in. We already have more than 50 members. In that case, I like to go to the topic straight. First, I go with the questions. There is one question. Somebody called me and asked me. I put it as a note. Silvana, can you give me a marketing idea other than whatever you said all this time? Okay. Yes, the holiday marketing idea, what you can do. Then I pick, there are so many ideas. There's something, nothing is new. This we are using whatever somebody already used it. Buyer's guide and seller's guide. Today, if you don't know what is buyer's guide, if you don't know what is seller's guide, just please go and read buyer's guide, seller's guide. You can make 4 to 6 pages small booklet as a buyer's guide, seller's guide, step by step. For example, if you want to do the buyer's guide, what are you going to do? You can do step by step the process, finding the right location based on the transportation, based on the schools, based on the high schools. What is your preference for the transportation? If somebody prefer we want to be in the 1 acre lot and we want to have a peaceful life. There is no neighbors. Yes, that's their preference. But find the location, buyer's guide. What they like it, what they dislike, what they wants and what they needs. What they wants is different than what they needs. What they needs is first. Needs is first. Second thing, if they have money, what they wants. And the mortgage financing. Give some information about the mortgage financing based on your knowledge. I'm talking about buyer's guide. Make a buyer's guide. What are the step-by-step process for the buyers to buy? You can make it in 2 languages, English language or Tamil language. English language is easy. You can copy, cut and paste from all the website. All the website you can cut and paste. If you can able to write, you can write in the Tamil language too, and deliver to wherever you like. Even the Hindu temple, if you are writing in the Tamil language, go to the Hindu temple too. Anywhere you like, because it's a free information you are giving to people. I'm talking about the buyer's guide. I used to go to the print shop, printers. I think it's Color Tech printers. I believe it's Color Tech. When I was an agent, I believe it's Color Tech. Is located in Mississauga area. They have a sample guide, buyer's guide and seller's guide. You can put your pictures and give it to people. People might think you wrote these ones. Step by step, and the end, the last part of the buyer's guide. What are the costs involved? Land transfer tax cost, non-residents want to buy, what is the cost is involved for non-residents, and the government frees non-residents for next year, and the closing cost. These are the things you can put it for the buyer's guide. And do it, and under the seller's guide, you can put seller, how much money is the seller's, what are the things sellers has to do it when they sell the property. Before sell the property, what they had to do it. There are so much books available. I had the videos from David Nock videos sitting there, and because of the pandemic, I don't get a chance to put the videos to you guys because everything doing by Zoom. That the videos are 30 minutes and 40 minutes. I cannot play it in the Zoom meetings. That's boring for everybody. And the seller's guide, okay, seller, what the seller has to do. What are the, for example, seller before they list the property, they calling the pre-inspection and getting the pre-inspection report of the property, and the seller finding what is a mistake there before somebody come and find the mistakes. Okay, for the seller's guide, start with that one, and you go on and finding the salesperson. What are the communities moving that area? And who they want to, which salesperson is suitable for that particular area to list. But as a real estate salesperson, if we are listing it, you can tell, you can based on the buyer's seller's needs. For example, one area, sorry to call the community name, guys. One area is Somalians are moving in the area, or new immigrants, one from Iran, they are moving that particular area, whatever. You can say you're going to advertise in the particular newspapers, particular language, and those are the eye-catching factors for the sellers, and who they give it the listing to sell. And staging, what is a house look like with staging and without staging? Magic of staging. and magic of marketing. The marketing strategies you can put before listing. What kind of marketing you're going to do during the listing? What kind of marketing you're going to do after the list of property? What kind of marketing you do? Open houses. Whether you want to have an open house or no open house based on the value of the property. If you are listing in $4 million property, why you want to have an open house? Nobody going to walk in and buy the open house. Then you can put something about that one. What they are saying, the agent asked me, can you give me some idea, Silvana, other than whatever you said all this time in the Zoom meeting? New idea for the marketing side. The new idea for the marketing side is not a new one again, guys. It's an old idea, but still we know what we need, but we are not doing it. That's a concept we have. Okay, buyer's guide and seller's guide is very good. If we are making the buyer's guide, put it in the buyer's areas. I know. I see in the buyers. I put the buyer's guide myself. Varasdi Vinayar temple one of the days. Make it those one. And when I say the temple side, temple they need always for any temple you go, they need plastic bags to carry the prasadam or anything you get. Make the bags. Look at Alibaba website or any other Chinese website and make the plastic bags. Still is legal. They didn't ban it, and you can order it and you get advertisement, free advertisement in the bags, very cheap advertisements. You can do that one. Okay, it's not advertisement seminar today. The agent asked me, give me some new idea. Then I give you new idea today to buyer's guide, seller's guide. That's the best thing to do. Okay. All right. The next question is here. Next, before I go to my buy the property, today's seminar is buying the property under the corporate name. What is the advantage and what is the disadvantage? Why we want to buy the property under the corporate name? What are the things is involved? And plus the different kind of mortgages until develop up. All right. The next question, I always discuss the question if somebody said it to me first. And in this case, I know there's one question in the chat box before the word that when I have the phone call questions. I got this call yesterday. Home line of credit versus mortgages. Mortgage interest rate is going higher. Then can I get the home line of credit? If you want to get the home line of credit, what are the procedures? What are the procedures and the benefit and advantage and disadvantage of the home line of credit? This is one of the things, guys. Mortgages is mortgages. Mortgages is secure your house as you are going to pay under the amortization category. Either variable mortgage, fixed mortgage, doesn't matter. Canada amortization is 25 years. And if you go with the 20% down payment or more, the banks go with 30% amortization. What is that means is mortgage amortization. In Canada, mortgages means you have to pay capital and interest together. You cannot pay only the interest only like a US, but interest only is possible with the private mortgages and other things. But Canadian government, A-lenders mortgages, amortization mortgages. The line of credit. Line of credit is a secured one. The short form is HELOC. Home line of credit. That's based on the equity of the property. Today's standard. For example, you have a property, you bought it for 500,000 one time. One time you bought it for 500,000. Say nowadays the market price is went to 1 million and come back to 800,000 whatever. If your property is worth for 800,000, your property is worth for based on the 800,000. Based on the 800,000 up to 80%, $640,000, you can go as a line. You can go a line of credit. Say your mortgage, you got the mortgage for 500,000. Today's your mortgage is only say keep it 500,000. In that case, there's available monies 140,000 available. That's you can go as a HELOC. If your income support, you can go. But advantage HELOC. When you sell the house, you don't need to pay for the penalty. Again, guys, advantages for the HELOC. Home line of credit, you are only going to pay for the interest. The payment is going to be lower. Advantage for the HELOC, when you sell the property, you don't have to pay for the penalty to cancel it. It's a line of credit, you can cancel anytime. And the HELOC, if you are borrowing the money from the HELOC, for example, 100,000 you borrow from HELOC, and our Future Senate Corporation, we are investing corporation. You coming and investing our corporation now. We are giving out 8% interest. Your HELOC maybe say 6% now. Nowadays the interest rate is higher. Used to be lower. In this case, at least you have some profit. Plus whatever the interest you paying the bank, you can write it off. HELOC interest you can write off from your personal income tax return. There are something like that for the home line of credit. What is the purpose? You are borrowing the money from the HELOC. you can make use of it in your personal taxes. And the other question he asked me, do I need to go to the same bank or can go to a different bank? Is the advantage to go to the same bank. If you go to a different bank, the bank might ask, you already have a mortgage with CIBC, why are you coming to the Royal Bank? It's good to go to the same bank, is much better and much easier to qualify than other banks. The disadvantages side, yes, used to be the mortgages doesn't show it in the credit bureaus. Now is the mortgages are showing, except Street Capital and excessive capital and a few other things it doesn't show. But the line of credit just is showing to the credit bureau right away. But there is no exception. Kana, you have anything to say?
Yes, just with what you just brought up right there. If you have a mortgage with one lender and you want to get a home equity line of credit, back in the days, it used to be only one institutional lender, BMO, that would allow a line of credit, even though you have the first mortgage with CIBC or TD Bank. Recently, in the last few months, for advertisement purposes and to bring more lenders in, TD is now offering line of credits, even if you have a mortgage with another institution. Also, Scotiabank has started doing this as well. So on the institutional side, BMO, TD, and Scotiabank will give you a line of credit and second position after any other institution that has a first.
It's amazing, guys. Amazing point. It's the right time, the right information.
Exactly. For line of credits, it's actually getting a little easier to get a home equity line of credits. So if you need any help, let me know and we can figure that out.
Thank you so much. The next one, another agent called me and asked me, Silvana, do you register the corporation? How much is the cost? Yes, we do register the corporation. As you guys know, when I talk about the PREC corporation, personal real estate corporation and stuff, I informed that one. Yes, we do register the corporation. How much is cost based on whether number corporation or name corporation, what is the purpose of the corporation? Corporation registration differs for the different purpose. For example, if you want to start the lending corporation is different, property management corporation is different, regular truck driving or basic corporations are different. Based on that one, the amount change. Basically saying the name corporation we charge around $750 versus the lawyers and most of the lawyers charge $1,500. When we do open the corporation, we do the basic filings and stuff, initial filing, HSC number and everything as a package. That's a case by case. If anybody wants it, just give me a call. Second thing, what is the difference between the Ontario corporation versus real estate corporation? For example, Ontario corporation is a basic common word, Ontario Corp. But the corporation is unique. What is the purpose you are owning the corporation? For example, look at me, myself. I have a corporation for the home life from 2002. I have another corporation for the lending corporation from 2004 or 5. That's a regular financial corporation. I had a MIC corporation since 2018. I can name it. I have 4 or 5 corporations, but every corporation are different. What is different? Article of corporation is different. What is we writing in the article of corporation different? How we going to issue the shares? How many common shares? How many preferred shares? How many common shares? Class A shares, Class B shares, Class C shares. Those are different. And the PREC corporation is unique corporation. Personal real estate corporation, the purpose is only personal real estate income you can receive under the corporation. That means it's not a hard corporation. It's one of the easy corporation to set up. But is the person who, if you go to, they should know what is the RECO regulations are. What is Ontario government regulations are. That corporation can only have only one director. You cannot have your wife or anybody else as a second director. There are the shareholders mean you can have a different kind of shareholders. Different kind of shareholders where kids can be common shareholders A, your wife can going to be common shareholder B, and you can keep those different shareholders. That means when you issue the dividends, you can issue different ratio of dividends. If you, for example, the PREC corporation, you have 2 kids and a wife. They all do put everybody, all 3 people as a common shareholders up to 10%. In that case, if everybody the same common shares, A class shares, that's mean if you issue dividends to one person, you have to issue the other person too. But you don't want to issue the kids for too much money and you want to issue your wife only, then you have to have different classes. That's what we do for the PREC corporation. PREC corporation is limited to your income only. You cannot get any other income for the PREC corporation. We did this seminar many times, guys. Then that means I'm going to pass it through. I'm going to move forward for this question. a little bit faster. Okay, I have one more question. I will discuss that one after this one. The Zoom questions. The Zoom question. I'm going to go through the Zoom question. That's I should talk about that one. Good morning, Selvana. We bought a pre-construction from the builder earlier this year. The builder reduced the price 175,000. Wait, give me, guys. I'm going to open up a different screen and read this one. Okay. Sorry for the delays. Okay, the builder reduced the price is up to 175,000. Reduce the price up to 175,000. Hannah, I'm having a hard time to get the chat box read. Can you, if you don't mind, can you read this for me?
Definitely. Good morning, Salvana. We bought a pre-construction property from the builder earlier this year. The builder reduced the price up to 175,000. The builder reduced the price to up to 175,000. Our particular lot reduced by 150,000, and our deposit money is 60K. When we called the builder told us to contact the lawyers. What will happen? This is by Darshini. Darshini, if you're on the line, if you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, that'll be great.
Darshini, unmute and come, Darshini. This is a very important question. I want to get a 100% clear picture, and everybody need to get a clear picture. Darshini, are you in the line? Are you listening?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This Matami, they offer people some depend of the house, but I know one of the client is they reduce the price 100,000, but if they deposit 50,000, it's a certain date. Within this date, and then if you deposit 50,000 extra deposit, and they reduce the price 100,000. That means like a 1,550,000 price, they reduce 1,450,000, but they have to deposit 50,000 extra.
To secure the house, they're going to buy it.
Yes, that's right.
Thanks, Loga. Thank you so much for your the comment you giving us today. That's very nice of you. You voluntarily coming and sharing. Okay, the question, guys. Whatever the questions, you guys already understand. She's saying after they bought it, the builder reducing up to 175,000. Her particular lot is reduced by $150,000. And the question about she asked for the details. They said to contact the lawyers, and Loga voluntarily came and give the information to us. Matami reduce the price, and in order to give the amendment sign for the price reduction, they are asking extra deposit because they want to secure. Maybe that area value went up maybe 200,000 less, 250,000 less. Even though they bring $100,000 lower, they want to have some extra deposit to secure the property. Thank you so much, Loga. It's really appreciate for the comment you came and give us. Darshini, if you listen this one and you come to the Zoom, please come. Please unmute and talk to us. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Salman. That was the only concern. The builder couldn't answer anything, right? They're saying to contact through the lawyer. So I don't know what will happen. Like, that's why I want to know any experience, like past experience.
Yes, I do have experience for different people, many things, but this one is a good experience. Immediately, Loga come and give the comment about the matter. Is it a Matami place, Matami house you bought it to?
Minto.
Okay. Then the similar situations. Okay, you have to feel like Darshini, you are lucky because you already have a valid contract with the builder. If the builder doesn't reduce it, still you are obligated to buy. If you have a different property, in case you don't close the transaction, in my eyes, one of the client paid $375,000. The builder, one of my far relative person, paid $375,000 to the builder because he didn't close the transaction. In this case, builder is reducing the price. That's an advantage for you, 100,000. Just because they needed to sign the amendment of agreement for the purchase sale agreement. Of course, they don't want to spend time. You have to go to the lawyer, then go to the lawyer. As like Loga's comment, they may ask some extra deposit. Maybe the market went down 200,000. They only reducing 100,000. That means they want to secure the house, the time for the closing date. They may ask extra deposit. That's very It's a good common sense. But this is the basic, Darshini. You have to feel like there's a benefit for you because you already have a contract. You had to buy it. There's no matter what. In this case, builders reducing, take advantage of it.
Okay, thank you so much, Arvanda.
Okay, today I send a message for the meeting message, guys. I want to read the message again for you guys before we go through what exactly we committed to talk. Saturday training. Pro and cons for the buying the properties through the corporation and type of mortgages products available today. Yes, the buying the property under the corporation. I was thinking to talk about this one for a period of time. But I pick it today as a day. The reason is there are so many reasons. Our agents as well as the clients thinking buying the corporation is one of the benefit by under the corporate name. But we're going to discuss this one. I am not going to encourage you. I am not going to discourage. I'm only going to give, because case by case are different. Everybody's income is different. Everybody, how many properties you have is different. Based on that one, you can take it for this advice. But okay, buying the property under the corporation, the major reason everybody started to buy the property under the corporation, the mortgage is tightening up. Most of the banks are giving the mortgage only up to. Most of the banks are giving the mortgage only up to 5 houses only. Sorry. Okay. Most of the banks are giving the mortgages only up to 5 properties. That's also you had to be qualified. Somebody thinking if they're buying under the corporation, there's another alternative method to buy more than 5 properties. Answer is yes and no. I would say answer is in a kind of yes answer. You can buy, you can do certain ways. Okay, that's the reason we're going to talk about it. Yeah? Then why I'm going to talk we have good 1 hour. I'm going to go a very clear example. First of all, we want to talk about, please stop and ask me questions because all this Zoom for you guys. You can show your hand and come out and ask me any question anytime, or else you send it the chat box. I can come to it. Okay. First of all, if you are buying under the corporation, we have to understand. In Canada, what is corporation means? Every countries are different. In Canada, what is corporation mean? That's the first thing. Corporation is different than the personal side. Corporation is a legal entity. Corporation is a legal entity is separate and distinct from the personal side. That's mean if you have a personal, if you're starting a corporation, that's mean the corporation usage can be a business, can be buying the stocks and buying and selling stocks, or else investment purpose, or else you buying the property the different way other than your personal side. If there's an advantage and disadvantage. First you have to understand what is a corporation. What is a corporation? Corporation is a separate entity. When you file the income tax, you have to file the income tax separately for the corporation. Corporation, you can be a sole owner of the corporation, or else your wife, kids, or any other partners can be the corporation. Then what we're going to talk the next topic, next to the corporations. Corporation number 1, corporation is a separate entity other than your personal. That part is done. Type of corporation. What are the type of corporation available in our regular marketplace? There are few kind of corporations are available. The major ones are available. The basic ones are available under the Canada Corp, Ontario Corp. Either you can reach the corporation under the Canada-based corporation or as Ontario-based corporation. What is the difference? Not much difference. But at the same time, if you want to run it in the Ontario alone, if you register the Ontario corporation, the advantage of Ontario corporation never expires. Once you open it up, you don't have to pay the money to renew. Once you open it, as long as you file the taxes, the corporation is existing for your lifetime under the directors alive. And the Canada Corp, yes, is a cost efficient, lower cost to register the Canada Corporation, but at the same time, you had to, anything you buy lower, you have to pay extra money, and then a Canada Corporation, you had to renew the corporation after every 2 years. Otherwise, if you don't renew the corporation, that's mean the corporation automatically expires. The date expires after 2 years. I believe it's 3 years. First 3 years after that, you had to renew. Second thing, when you open the corporation, either Canada Corporation, Ontario Corporation, again 2 kinds. You can open the number corporation or name corporation. Depends on what is the purpose of you are doing it. For example, you are doing the food delivery services. Number corporation doesn't work. Then you had to say, Selva Home, I pick my name, Selva Home Delivery Service, Food Delivery Services. We need to have a name. Then the name corporation, number corporation, legal entities are same, law is the same, tax brackets are same, but if we are registering the name under the corporation, when you are registering the name under the corporation, nobody can steal the name in the future. For example, you are starting up the business, say one pizza business, say name it ABC Pizza. That pizza store, when you start, what are you going to do? After you're going to sell it to somebody else as a sale of business. That name, nobody can use it. The name is unique for you. Because what we doing it, when we reach the corporation, we have to do the name search. We do the name search under the Canada directory. And we have to see what are the provinces, this similar name, they have it or not. Even though we are registering the Ontario Corporation, that particular name, nobody can have it under the name corporation side. I'm just selling some information for the corporation before we go to the property side. Then we had to pay for $80 to get the name and register the corporation. Once you have a corporation, nobody can use a name. I can tell you one comment. One of the team members was our Home Life. Then they moved to, the agents move from one company to other company. They are no longer with us. They was using the name. I cannot tell the name because of everybody's listening and that tape. But they were using the name. But when they're using the name, but they didn't check it carefully. They was using the name for their group of team, and they advertise everywhere. Then somebody filed a case to them. That name already registered and belongs to them. Then they are with one of the remarks, but they are not using the name because it's going on the case, because they already used the name and without any permission from the original person who already registered the name. And they stop advertising the name right now. They don't have that particular name. They advertise for 2-3 years. But I'm saying the name is, when you go to the corporation, I said again, I'm rounding up. When you go to the corporation, type of the corporation, they can go for the Canada Corp, Ontario Corp. Within the Canada Corp, Ontario Corp, you can go for the number corporation or name corporation. If you go to the number, nobody can see the number. If you go to the name corporation, just we go to the name search and register the name. Once you register the name, that's going to be there permanently for you guys. Other step of the corporation, that's a bit higher side, either a public corporation or personal corporation. Mostly we are doing with the personal, privately owned profit corporation. That's the one we are using it. The privately owned corporation, we don't go to the stock trading and stock. That's I don't want to explain about that one. That's a different accounting system. We had to maintain different reason we had to go at the stock exchange. If you have a business, how many years your business is established, and there are so many other reasons, but public corporation, we are not going to get involved. Under the privately owned corporation, again, there are minor changes. Is there somebody opened the temple? When somebody opened the temple, that's going to be but non-profit corporation. The charity corporation is different, but the non-profit corporation. And somebody opened a church. Somebody have a rather than church and worship places, regular property management, for example. If you have a property management, say for example, I own the property management. If you have property management, but I'm doing it, I'm collecting the money and paying the money and getting the fees. There's no profit. Then nobody can make the profit. It's a property management, nobody own it. It's a business purpose. Okay. There are so many other things. In and out is going to be equal. There are so much different varieties for the corporation, guys. In that case, that's a major topic. I can talk about the corporation for maybe 3-4 hours. Accounting system, privately owned corporation, public corporation, profit corporation, non-profit corporation. There are a lot of things available for that side. And the charity corporation is unique. We had to apply the CRA to make it as a charity side. And basically saying, basic understanding for this group of peoples for the corporation is separate from the personal. Okay, because today's seminar is buying the property. Then I stick with the buying the property side. Okay, the next one. Basic advantage and disadvantage for the corporation. This can be either buying the property or your business. Advantage side, personal corporation, the liability is limited liability. We are using the word mostly corporation in Canada, LLC. Mostly, if you go to the US websites or British websites, YouTubes and everything, they usually use the word LLC, limited liability companies. but we using the word mostly for the corporation. The word as a corporation can be we can use any terms, terms. But LLC means limited liability companies. If you have a corporation, your liabilities are limited to. Liabilities are limited to, because if anything happened to the particular corporation, doesn't come, the creditors doesn't come under personally you if you don't sign the PPSA. That's mean personal property, that's under the property side. If you don't sign the guarantor as your own personal guarantee, doesn't come. For example, I have vehicles. For example, I'm telling you, okay, because I'm putting myself as an example. I have a home life, running home life. What are the vehicle I buy? I buy the vehicle under the company's name. That doesn't mean, but then in that case, for example, I am paying $2,000 for the vehicle lease, doesn't show my personal credit. That's an advantage for me when I buy the next property. For example, I have the 3-4 units, 1 or 2 units under my name, 1 or 2 units, for example, under the home life name. One other unit under the home life name, if I have the mortgages, doesn't reflect under my personal the credit, doesn't show anywhere. Anything come to the for example, the business, I don't want to say this, my business, anything come to the business side doesn't affect for the personal side. That means liabilities are limited. That's a major advantage for the corporation. We will relate to these topics under when you buy the property under the corporation side, okay? And the disadvantages of the corporation, of course, advantages there, disadvantages also there. Disadvantage of the corporation's time consumption. Yes, the set of the corporation is time consumption. Time consumption is there. What kind of corporation you are setting up based on that one. Some cases the corporation we pay double taxes. Not usually. Government is fair, but at the same time, if we don't know about the tax system, we end up paying the double taxes. For example, even your PRC corporation, for example, you are registering it. I know even some agents argue with me. I said, okay, if you don't argue, you don't come and talk to me. For example, after the PRC corporation, they want to take the salary out. And they want to pay for the salary, for the Canada pension and EI and everything, they for the salary, and they want to put it back as a T4 and put it back again under the personal tax. This is called double tax. If you want to take as a dividend, of course you take advantage of it. You take as a dividend. Or if you make the money, more money you are keeping under the corporate side, tax deferral program. Personal tax, you buy in the RRSP and bring down your tax bracket. But if you are keeping under the corporation, under the money under the corporation, is a tax deferral program. I'm going to talk about that one when you buy and sell the houses under the corporation, but its advantage, we can use it for the money within the corporation. If somebody doesn't understand and go with the flow with some lawyers or some accountant, when they make money and they tell them to reach the corporation and come back to the corporation, they end up pay the double taxes. And US side, there are S corporation, P corporation, and there are different systems there based on that one. The time you register it, your tax bracket is different. And the corporation, other side of the corporation, government regulation is there. Government regulation is there for the corporation. For example, I relate this one when it comes to the real estate again. For example, the fine and penalties are different. For example, real estate agent under side, even though you have a PRC, but you are under the personal side anyway. Only the money you are receiving under the PRC. If the real estate agent under the personal side, if you make some mistake, your fine may be going to be only $1,000, maybe $1,500. Same thing under the corporation office, make the mistake, $10,000, $5,000. Again, they're related to the real estate business. You are renting the place. You are renting the house. Under the personal side, your liability is limited, but still the fine and the court process are different under the corporation side and the personal side. Government regulations are different for the corporation, and the corporation is kind of expensive. If you are under the limit, whatever the limit you are going for, under the limit. Corporation is not for everybody. Corporation is not for everybody. You have to be wisely select what you need to know about the corporation. Okay, the next part. What is the advantage to buy the properties under the corporation? All right. Before we go, I'm going to talk about few headings. I'm going to talk before. Later on, I'm going to relate it to the corporation side. Ownerships. First, we talk about ownership. Buying the property is ownership. When you buy the property under the ownership, yes, if you are buying the property under the personal side, your name or your husband and wife name or sister's name, brother's name is going to be there on the personal side. That's the personal side you are going to have it. How many properties you're going to buy? Still going to be under the personal name, title. Under the corporation, yes, you're going to buy the corporation under the name is going to be under the title is going to be under the corporate name. Who is the one going to manage? The signing officer based on the corporation creation. Who is the one signing the corporation? His name is going to be under the title. I'll come back and talk about the ownership, corporate taxes, HSC rebate. If you buy the property under the corporation for the brand new property, we're going to talk about the HSC rebate part, and we're going to talk about the capital gain tax part, and recently sell the property under the tax system and everything. We're going to talk about that one. Okay, the heading is title. First title. Second thing, getting the mortgages. Yes, getting the mortgages, personal side. If you are going for the personal side, you go there, getting the mortgages, look at your income and giving the mortgages. But when you go for the corporation side, I'm not discouraging, just they are doing the same thing now. You are buying the second property under the corporate name, you are buying it. If you are buying the corporate name of the property, please note, if you are buying the corporate name of the property, you can live or you can rent. If you live, you are the loser. I tell you why. If you are renting out, yes, that's a business purpose. You are renting out the property, but the rental income and rental capital gain is going to be there. But when you are renting out the property, yes, there's an advantage. Advantage, you can get the mortgages. Showing your personal income as well as a rental income. But most of the bank sign up with the PPSA. They will do that one. I'll explain to you what this PPSA means. What PPSA stand for. We will discuss that one. But anyway, it's an advantage for you guys if you go to the property under the corporation. If you go to the property under the corporation, I think the best time I can explain that one. If you go to the property under the corporation, what they do, the title is going to be under the corporation. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Ontario Inc. Now we starting 1000 Ontario Corp. And used to be start 000 and whatever the numbers are. You can have a number corporation. That means they don't know who until they go to the corporate search, nobody easily find out who own the properties. Second thing, you are getting the mortgages. When you get the mortgage, if you are buying the commercial property under the as a holding company or the category, something is called a short form called PPSA. That stands for Personal Property Security Act. Under the Personal Property Security Act, I'm going to read whatever is there in the note. Under the Personal Property Security Act, PPSA offers complete set of regulation to control creditors and debitors, right, when personal property is used as a collateral and secure debit payments. For example, PPSA, all the banks going to register PPSA because you are guarantor. For this one, but when you buy the property, the special act is there, PPSA, Personal Property Security Act. You will sign the guarantor. For example, I'm going to compare this one with the car. You buying the car. When you buy the car, you open the new corporation, you are going to buy the car. When you go and buy the car, they will ask you, the dealership asks you, can you sign the personal guarantor? Well, that depends how many years you are established a business. Your business is new, they may not going to qualify. Your business is established for 2-3 years and you have the tax file and the financial statements available. You have the option. You can fight with them. I don't want to sign the PPSA. I don't want to sign the personal guarantor. I want the car under my company's name only. That means doesn't reflect your credit bureau. Nothing like that. For example, I opened the Home Life Corporation in 2002. Around 2007-8, I believe, I bought the vehicles, everything under that without any personal guarantor. That's been under the corporation only. When you buy the vehicle, if it is a new corporation, just you have to sign the personal guarantor for the vehicle to buy. But under the property, there is no limitation. You must sign any property you buy, any amount of time you have the business developed, doesn't matter. When you buy, you have to sign the Personal Property Security Act, saying that one, in case the debitor or creditors want to come, they have a right to come to the person who owned the corporation. But the advantage is there. I talked to some mortgage brokers, Kanna and other mortgage brokers, to get the full information. For example, we are real estate agent. We want to make a sale, guys. If somebody have 5 houses, if we can't get the mortgage, we cannot say don't buy anything. Buy 50 houses, then only we can make money. In that case, under the corporation side, what the banks are doing it. But we had to understand, banks are reducing the PPSA, but not under the credit bureau. PPSA is a personal security act guarantor, but it's not a guarantee. Guarantor, for example, you buying the property and signing the mortgage under the PPSA, either under the corporation, but doesn't reflect under your credit bureau. If we are doing under the Royal Bank, CAPC Bank doesn't know, unless otherwise they have a bureau. They go and pull the bureau saying that when PPSA registered for this particular corporation, if they go and pull it. I'm talking the publics right now. In that case, I had to limit whatever I am saying. Use your common sense. Different corporations is maybe one of the choices, and you have to talk to the bankers. If you go into the corporation, what are the procedures the particular bank is doing it? Are they going to pull the PPSA report before they qualify the mortgages? I talked to one of the mortgage broker yesterday, but he said the bank he's working right now is one of the 5 major banks, doesn't check the PPSA. But if you buy one mortgage from that particular bank, the second mortgage, when you go, definitely they know. But at the same time, if you have one mortgage with a different bank, you had a way to go. They had a way to go under the corporation to get another mortgage for the different banks, guys. I am not misleading you. I'm not giving you too much. I'm not saying it's too easy, but at the same time, there are opportunities are there to get more mortgages than 5 houses, 5 properties in the nowadays Canadian banks controlling way. Personal properties only 5 mortgages only 1% can hold. We can bypass from this way. This is one of the major advantages buying the property under the corporation. Okay, and the next topic is the taxation part. We're going to talk about the taxation part. What are the taxation is involved? Then I'm going to compare right away now. I was thinking.
I have a quick question.
Yes, go to Rajkumar.
So, do they check your credit when you go as a co-signer?
Yes, it's not cosign. We are talking about PPSA. Cosign is different. Cosign is a different word, Rajkumar, than the PPSA. You talk about the cosign or PPSA?
PPSA.
Okay, cosign. If you are buying the property under the personal name, you are co-signer. I'll go to the point, the cosigner, because it's maybe some of them want to know about that one. Co-signing can be 2 ways. Either you can get the ownership of the property 1 or 2% and signing the co-signing part. The 1 or 2% only we are the one putting it. You are co-signing. You are getting the ownership of the property, or else you are only going as a co-signer guarantor only for 3 years. 3 years. The person who you signed the co-signing part or guarantor sign, that's only going to be 3 years. The mortgage payment is regular. The banks take it out. Okay, PPSA, Rajkumar, yes, it's a personal property security act. You signing it, and you are saying the guarantor. You are signing it. You are responsible for the particular corporation. Yes, of course, they will check the credit for you, and they want to know who owned the corporation. The person declared bankruptcy 5 times and opened the corporation right now is different than the regular genuine person. Okay, just they will check the time they issue the mortgages.
Okay, Sarana, thank you.
Anybody have any question at this moment? All right, then I'm going to pass it for the next to the mortgage, guys. Next to the mortgage industry. If I miss anything for the mortgage, I'll come back in my notes. The next is taxation side. Taxation side, guys, is little bit we had to consider for the taxation side. The taxation side, yes, we had to consider. The major part for the taxation side, if we are buying the property to live there, not for the rental purpose, the first property you are buying to live there. What is the advantage we have in Canada? Primary residence tax credit. That means primary residence capital gain. Primary resident capital gain, we don't need to pay. We have a huge advantage in Canada. Not every other countries, they have a ceiling. In Canada, you buying the property, bought the property for 200,000, you're selling it for 1.5 million right now. 1.3 million you gain. but no taxes. It's a primary resident. But some of the, in England and other countries, they are sealing it for 300,000, 400,000 pounds, 300,000 sterling pounds, 400,000, 500,000 sterling pounds, and limiting different countries. Canada, we have a huge big advantage, primary resident tax. You guys know that part. But if you are buying the personal property, number one, if you are buying the property under your personal name, under the corporate name, and you're going to live there, when you sell it, you don't have the luxury. You are losing the benefit to claim the primary resident exception. You have to pay for the primary residence. You had to pay for the taxes. That's one of the negative side. Second thing, guys, again, the tax part we talk about. We are buying the pre-construction. You said you're going to live there. If you're going to live there, it's impossible under the corporation. There are no HSC rebate. There is no HSC rebate because under the corporation, primary resident purpose, you're going to live there. My word, I'm not saying there is no HSC rebate. Rental rebate is equal to the personal name. Rental rebate portion, rental rebate category, personal or corporation, both are equal. But at the same time, if you are buying, you're going to say owner occupying HST, you are not going to qualify for that one. In that case, if you want to buy something to live yourself, that's not the way to do. Second thing about the tax part, registering the corporation, you guys know $1,500, $2,000. Somebody is asking the question here. What is the percentage of the down required to buy the property under the corporation? Definitely, as for my knowledge, maybe Kanna could answer it. As for my knowledge, CMSCH premium, mortgage insurance, Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation, give the mortgage insurance under the personal side. That means, as for my, I don't have 100% answer for this question, but as for my common sense answer, you have to have minimum 20% to go without paying the CMSCH banks require. Sometimes bank may request more money. Kanna, you don't mind to touch on this side for this question?
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, it's a vague answer because it depends on which financial institution you're getting a mortgage with, right? So each financial institution has their own mortgage products. On average, I can simply say that with 20% with under a corporation name, holding company name, you can still buy a property with minimum 20% down. Getting it insured, it's a different category, but usually you can typically think of it as 20 to 35%, depending on which financial institution you're going to, based on how their product is. Their risk factor guidelines, their underwriting policies all differs. CIBC always prefers 25%. There's some other institutions that, on the B side that prefer 30% or 35%. And Scotiabank on the A side, you can get it done with 20% under a corporate name. So think of it as between 20 and 35% down payment is required.
Amazing. Thanks, Kanna. Thank you. Thanks for the questions, guys. Questions are really good. We can come out from the zone and we talk different things. Thanks for the questions, anybody. All right. The tax part, under the corporation and under the personal side, forget about the primary residence. We come back to the next level. For the rental property. The rental property is some people doesn't have enough. Okay, the rental property you are buying it. When you buy the rental property for the taxation part under the corporation tax, what I want you to understand for the tax part, the personal tax is a formula, is a progressive tax. Progressive tax means 0 to say 14,000 these days. Government of Canada giving $0 to $14,000 as a personal side, zero tax. That means Government of Canada think you need $14,000, the welfare a little bit more than welfare amount or the seniors pension amount. I can say seniors pension amount. They're thinking that one you need to have it at least $1,000 a month, for example, minimum. You need to live for sure, but it's not enough. But that's a government regulation. That means zero tax from 14,000. I picking at 14,000. Federal, we have Canada provincial is different than the federal level limit different, but it's close to each other. The Ontario is very close. Only few $100 is different. For example, $14,000 free tax. From the 14 to 32, 32 to 80, different income goes up, tax bracket goes up, and up to 220,000 and more, you are paying around close to 50%. But when it's come to the corporation, it's not a progressive tax. It's a category. What kind of income you receive? It's a passive income or else active income. Active income, passive income means for you guys. Active income means you are real estate. You are working hard and getting the commission is an active income. You are working IT job, it's an active income. You are doing the cleaning job, it's an active income. Passive income means without doing it, you are investing the money. For example, you are giving the mortgages out. You are going to give, you have 1 million and you are giving the mortgages, and every month you're going to receive $750 from our company. I'm talking about our big corporation. If we invest 1 million, you're getting around 7,500 a month. But if it is a personal, it's different than the corporation. Corporation, part of the passive income, you had to pay for 50% tax. For me, a little bit more. According to the website, 50%, 51% tax we had to pay for it. For the passive income category, net income only the net income. We're not talking the gross income, net income. And if you are buying the property under the corporation, for example, you buy the property for 1 million, and you say 800,000, you buy the property. Easy calculation for me, easy math. And you sell it for 1 million. That means your profit is 200,000. Either personal or corporation, the profit, 50% of the profit coming as a capital gain. Personal, just 200,000 you paid, you profit 200,000, 100,000 going to be your personal tax. And the corporation is the same thing. But under the corporation side, people who have a high income, they take advantage, lower income, they pay money. But under the first corporation side, I teach these guys for your PRC corporation many times, your tax bracket, if you have only one corporation, 12.5%. If you have a second corporation, 15% tax. We talk about that one. Say, keeping 15% tax. But if we are your capital gain part, 200,000 profit, 100,000 capital gain. That capital gain come under not the passive income, 50% bracket, but at the same time, this capital gain under the corporation, 25% tax bracket, not 15% tax bracket. Many of them doesn't know this one. 20% tax bracket. But at the same time, vice versa, if somebody have a high income under the personal, they may pay a little bit more than that one too. But the difference is there. I just want to point it out, that one under the side. But if you ask me, Silvana, are you discouraging the corporation? No. Answer is not, because we are salespeople. If somebody already have few houses, get the house under the corporation and make a transaction. But corporation is, I can advise 100% for the corporation, one kind of property. That property you buy and renovate and flip the property, flipping properties. The reason, guys, please focus 100% and understand this one, please. The flipping properties, if you buy the property and you doing the renovation and you're going to flip the property. Flipping property, that money you buying for, say, I pick the example, 801 million, easy math. You're buying for 800,000 and you're spending $400,000 renovation, and say selling for 1 million, for example. That means your profit is 1 million profit. 50% you have to pay for the tax under the personal side. But that's wrong. If you have a flipping property, if you are buying it 800,000, you're spending for 100,000, sell it for 1 million. That's mean 100,000 profit. That's not under the capital gain. If you buy and sell property without renting out, you buy and sell property, that's called as an inventory. Like a grocery store, they importing the rice from any countries and keeping the rice back, and customer come and buying and going. Exactly same thing. This property is an inventory for that particular the person who buy it under the corporation or personal, is an inventory product. That inventory not under the capital gain. In this case, we are buying the property under the corporate name as an inventory and doing all the work and selling it. This is a pure business income. Then pure business income, active income. Whatever the taxes you're going to pay compared to the personal, you're going to pay only, if you have only one corporation, 12%. If you have a two corporation, 15%. Yes, you can ask me, flipping properties is Ontario banned and this and that. Not Ontario didn't ban. Ontario is saying flipping property, you buy it, you had to have 1 year term. Even though you keep the 1 year, the renovation, just basic renovation costs 6 months to 8 months time. That the law government is Ontario is doing it for the only for the residential properties. That doesn't apply to the commercial properties. That doesn't applicable to sixplex or more. That doesn't applicable to the other than the personal residence. But for me, if somebody buying the commercial property or sixplex, fiveplex, buying and doing the renovation and selling it, if they can keep it 1 year, buying under the corporate name, showing as a business income, a huge big advantage. That's a major advantage, I can say, impress me than anything else under the corporation side. The flipping properties are best for corporation because flipping properties no capital gain income. Flipping properties are business income. Business income, you pay less tax if you buy the property under the corporation side. Anyone have any question at this moment? All right. Go for a secondary properties. Secondary properties is the one people sometimes do that one. For example, you are going to buy a cottage. You're going to buy a cottage or any other secondary property under your name. Say cottage is the best example. Then if you buy the cottage under your personal name or the corporation name, yeah, it's a big difference. It's a huge big difference there. Reason, for example, you buy the corporation in Muskoka, and the corporation says, so it's not the corporation, sorry. If you're buying the vacation property or the cottage under the corporate name versus personal name. If you buy the personal name, that's a personal name. You can use as a primary residence, and you buy it and you keeping it for your own occupancy purpose. That doesn't bother too much. But the time you sell, you have to pay for the capital gain. But if you're buying under the corporation, what you had to do, you had to pay for the fair market rent. You have a property under your name, okay, as a vacation property or the vacation property or else cottages under your name. Every month you had to pay for the fair market value rent from your own to the from your own to the corporation, because corporation owning the money. You can keep it empty. That cottage may be worth for $2,000 a month. You had to pay from your pocket $2,000 to the corporation. That one, you had to do a tax return for that one. If you have a net profit, just you had to pay for the rental, even though you own it. This is a very tricky part. Guys, you understand this one? If you have a secondary property, it's a vacation property or cottage. If you buy your personal, nobody cares. If you buy under the corporation, the cottage fair market value, fair market rent for the cottage, you had to pay for it. You had to pay for it, and you had to write under the you had to do the tax return for that one. Say, for example, I'm buying a cottage under the Home Life name. For example, under the Home Life name, I'm buying it. For example, what I had to do, I had to pay for the fair market value. If I pay less, what will happen? That's reflect when I pay the salary from the corporation as a salary, I had to pay for the benefit for myself. As a benefit for myself, and the benefit I had to pay for it. For example, I have a car. I buy the car, and so for example, I'm paying $2,000 for the month for the car lease, $24,000 I'm paying the car lease and insurance and everything, guys. For example, I'm telling you, $30,000 I'm paying for the vehicle. The vehicle I am using 50% for the business and 50% for my own. That $15,000, $30,000 total cost of $15,000. Just that's a benefit for me. That's a business benefit, taxable benefit. I had to show that one to my T4 and to pay for the tax. Similar to that category is there under the second property. There's an advantage for the corporation if you are buying the property under the different countries. For example, US. If you are buying the US, I recommend you the number one. Very clearly mark the people, snowbirds. They winter time they go to US, Florida, Miami, and everywhere, and they come back again. They go December and come back April. Those kind of people, if they want to buy their own properties, that property going into the personal name is really serious one. The time they sell and the capital gain and stuff. US and Canada have some agreement. This is out of the topic. Maybe it's a knowledge for you guys if somebody asks. US and Canada have some agreement. The capital gain deduction for the snowbirds properties who are buying the US properties. But that one, before you buy the property, you had to register the cross-border trustee agreement. Cross-border trust corporations. We had to register that one. That costs around today's standard costs around $7,000-8,000 for the special corporation. You had to use it with the lawyers who have knowledge. And after that one, you have to buy it from that particular properties in US. But if you buy that one, it's a easy capital gain deductions and selling the properties and everything. You can take a major advantage the end. And if somebody buy the property and they dies and go to the will, to the estate and everything is much advantage if they buy it in the US properties under the cross-border trust category. And these are the part of the comparison for the tax the tax side. I'm going to go to the other topics, guys.
I have a quick question in
Sure, yeah,
regards
go
to
ahead,
the
yeah.
cottage property. So
Yeah.
if we sell the cottage property on our personal name, does it considered as we used it? So we will be like not giving capital gain, or how does that work?
Since 2019, I believe it's 19 October, I believe. Anyway, since 19, today's standard, the capital gain side, primary residence law, the Revenue Canada revised the primary residence status, Gustav, and only one, even before, only one property can be the primary residence. 2019 and onwards, everybody had to report it under the Revenue Canada. Revenue Canada auditors are looking at it. Basically saying, in Canada, only one property you can have as a primary resident. The primary residence is going to be only one property. Which property you're going to designate as a primary resident property, that's you have the luxury. You have the option to do that one. For example, you are living in the cottage, or you have a house here. Which one you're going to designate as a primary resident, that's up to you to designate. But at the same time, say you are living only 2 days in Toronto and 5 days in Niagara Falls and working from home, whatever they happen. But in order to do, you designate as a primary resident under the tax act. Under the tax act, you had to change your mailing address, residence address to that particular address. You had to have the correspondence, more than one correspondence for that particular address. That can be the utility bills and property tax. You cannot prove it, and you had to have anything else other than the correspondent phone bills or magazines, bank statement or anything else. You had to have it for that particular address to keep as a primary resident. But answer your question. You have two properties and you don't, basically your question, everybody understand the question. I have two properties. I have a cottage. I don't rent out the cottage. I'm the only one using the cottage. Whenever I go there, I live there and coming back. That's my primary resident. Do I need to pay for the capital gain? Sorry, can I claim that as a primary resident? Answer is no. You cannot claim as a primary resident. Primary resident is only one property. It's a primary residence. The primary resident status change this year budget, last year election promise, and this year the changes. There are lots of changes coming up from January 1st for the tax law for the residential side. One of the changes, the primary residence status, there's one call. Before this one, there's one call. I'm going back to one point. The plus one rule under the tax act for the plus one rule for the tax act for the primary resident. That means you sell one property and you move to another property. That's called plus one rule. But whatever property you sell, maybe you sold it in April, for example, you live only 4 months. You're selling it and you can apply because you live all these years, that particular property, you sell it. Doesn't matter the date of the year. Date of the year you sell, that's one's going to be as a primary resident, you're finishing up and you are moving to the other house starting from that particular date as a secondary property. That's going to be the future as a primary resident. That's called plus one rule for the CRA. But basically saying, all this time, we took the advantage on it. Honestly saying, we took the big advantage in the taxation side. A primary residence, no period of time. For example, you're buying a brand new property, you are moving the property. Who is the first person moving the property is the Revenue Canada law all this time. The first person moving the property is the owner or the tenant. First person moving the property is an owner. You live there only 2 weeks. Some reason you had a bad dreams. It's a simple example I say. You had a bad dreams in the house, or else you don't like this sunlight coming to the eyes, or else you don't like the religious purpose, you don't like the house. Maybe you had a minor car accident, you feel like the bad luck. Can be any reason. You sell the house still you consider the profit you consider as a primary resident. You buy and sell, even though you leave only 1 month, 1 month period. But Canada Revenue Agency stopped that loophole from January 1st. If you buy the property, you cannot sell it. You cannot claim primary residence status if you don't keep the property within 12 months period. You have to leave the house. You have to leave the house, physically leave the property for 12 months period, or you have to prove you leave the property for 3 months period. Keeping the vacant doesn't apply. If you are keeping the vacant, innocently keep it vacant and leaving the mothers for the young generation did few things, and they end up paying the capital gain. Primary residence status allowed from January 1st and onwards. Buy the property, you must live there 1 year. There are changes, you must change it to Revenue Canada, Canada Revenue Agency under the election section. Election Canada, under the public records, you change your name to that particular address as a primary resident, and you have to keep the property for 1 year minimum in order to qualify for the primary residence status. Okay, I think Kanna, there's a question in the chat box. Can you read for me, please?
All right. One of my clients has 3 properties. He plans to change all 3 properties under holding corporation. What cost does he need to pay once he changes? Example, property transfer, new mortgage, or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, property, you have it under the personal name, you're going to change it to corporate name. Look like you are paying the land transfer tax for double the land transfer tax. When you are moving the property from your name to corporation, corporation, as I said from the beginning, is a separate entity. When you transfer the corporation to the separate entity, some lawyers might say we can have the disclosure and this and that. But if you transfer it to a separate entity, the present value or market value of the property, I assume there's a mortgage. I'll go through 2 ways. If you are transferring from personal name to the corporation, assume the fair market value, you have to pay for the land transfer tax in order to change it. Second thing, the process is going to be, you have to qualify the mortgage 1 by 1, your properties, all 3 properties under the corporate mortgage. After that one, you cannot keep the mortgage under your personal name. You have to have the asset and the liability under the same title. You have to have the mortgage under the corporate name, and you have to transfer the name from your personal to corporation. At the same time, you have to pay for the land transfer tax from 1 by 1. Some lawyers may advise the wrong advice, guys. Careful, if you don't have a mortgage, they said I can transfer for the $2. That's like a suicide, because when you transfer it for $2 value for the corporation without paying the land transfer tax, what are you going to do? When you sell the property, capital gain from 0 to 1 million. I know I've seen some tax clients, the transfer the parents' house to them, but they don't live there. That's a rental property for $2 worth, because the parents doesn't have the mortgage. The lawyers without any consent, they transfer to, not to pay the land transfer tax, pay to $2. Now they're paying for the full value as a capital gain taxes. Answer his question. You have to get the mortgage under the corporation and go to the fair market value land transfer tax you have to pay. After that one, that's going to the corporation. Any other question on the chat box, Kanna?
Silvana,
No,
I
I think
have
that's
another question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go for it, Kanna. Sorry. I thought you would.
No, there is actually no more other questions there, so you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Good, sir, you go ahead. Yeah.
So let's say if I buy a property, but my son doesn't have anywhere to live, and is it possible I can have him move in that house for a little bit, and then after a year, if I sell it, do I still have to pay the capital gain as if because it was my family person who lived there because he doesn't have any place to live?
Yes, but you had to, okay, there are a few conditions. He has to be over 19 years or 18 years. Like I say 19 years. And his name supposed to be in the house. His name supposed in the house. He only occupying without the title. That's the question you have asking me?
Yes. So he's not on the, if
No,
like this is
he cannot-
hypothetical situation, maybe coming up in a year or 2 after the closing. So I just thought to ask you.
As from my understanding, just family relatives can live, in-laws, the kids can live, but at the same time, if their name supposed to be in the title in order to avoid the primary residence status.
Makes sense. Thank you so much. I
You
appreciate it.
yeah, you had to keep that one. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anybody have any other question before I continue? I have so much notes here right now. Anybody have any other question, guys? Okay. So the next part for the property transfer. And the question somebody asked me, I covered for the property transfer side. Transferring the property from the personal to the corporation. As I said, you had to get the corporate name. You have to get the corporation side, get the mortgage and everything and transfer it. Make sure to transfer it under the fair market value. Otherwise, capital gain part is there. And there are some other things from corporation to corporation. Okay. For example, if you buy the property under the corporate name, this is an important part before before the time comes. If you buy the property under the corporate name, if you are selling it, if you sell it, what are the profit come to the corporation? If you are not taking out the profit from the corporation to the personal, you don't need to pay the taxes. The retained earnings sit in the corporation. For example, the best thing, the flipping corporation. You are buying it, renovating and selling it as an inventory for the house. What are the gains come? You are paying the 15% or 12% tax based on your corporate setup, corporate nature. And the money, you don't take it out, you're keeping the corporation, buying other one, just take the tax advantage. There's a big tax advantage is there with the corporation. Other tax advantage, I would say even the real estate agents, you have a PRC corporation right now. You take out portion of the money and the rest of the money sitting there. That's a tax deferral for your personal side. Tax referral, if you are keeping the money, not to take out the money and keeping it under the corporation. And you can use the retained earnings with the 12% tax return, 12% corporate tax. You can buy the property and you can rent the property out. That's one of the major advantage. In that case of that the PRC corporation, you can sign the Personal Property Security Act under the PRC corporation, buy the property. And buy the property is allowed under the PRC corporation. Just you, other than the income, other than the passive, other than the active income, you can get a passive income. Passive income means you can rent, you can give out the mortgages, or you can buy the property. The best advice, if you are a PRC corporation, keep the money under the PRC corporation. Don't take it out and buy the property under the PRC corporation. That's one of the gain for you guys. All right. Basically, buying the property under the corporation, I have all this one. Then I can touch base for another 15 minutes as I send out for the mortgage side. Under the mortgage side, I can touch base on the mortgage side for you guys. Under the mortgage side, there is so many different kind of mortgages are available. Under different kind of mortgages and different kind of lenders are right there. For example, when it's come to the mortgages, the class of the person as an immigrant or else he buying the first property, second property, first property mortgages, always Government of Canada backing up the first property mortgages through the CMSCH as a less than 20% value you can buy. Even the last few years, we thinking we cannot buy the property less than 20%. That's a wrong answer. Government of CMSCH is ready to give out the mortgages, but depends on the category of the person. Because it depends on the category of the mortgages. When you come to the mortgage industry, all the banks are looking for you are getting the credit mortgages or equity mortgages. That's the way all the major banks are looking at it. When it's come to the mortgages, they're looking for the credit score, down payment, income category. Under the income category, what kind of income do you have? The self-employed income or the dividends income, or else you are working income. But they look at those categories. That's never change those ones. And appraisal value of the property, and how many percentage they want to go, where the property is located in 416 area code, 9 of area code, or else far away from Belleville, Blue Mountain, those kind of areas. Which bank? That's based on the bank side, where they're going to lend, where they want to mortgages out, or they give the mortgage, or they don't give the mortgages out. Canada, they never say age limit for the person. Indirectly, they may looking at it, but directly they look at it. For example, early 30s and the early 30s, husband and wife, they are graduate, they save up 5% down payment and they want to buy a condo for 500,000. Banks love to give them because they are new graduates, they're making money and they save up 5% down payment. Even government support another 5% and you can buy. The same time, somebody they came to Canada 30 years ago, they save up 5% and they close to 60 years of age. They want to buy the condo in Scarborough. Bank will question what you did all this time, how your spending habits and everything. This indirectly applications are there in my own view. I'm not saying this is the right way I'm talking about this one. Under the mortgage side, guys, there's the A lenders, B lenders, C lenders, and the private lenders, MIC lenders, MIC corporations, and so many different categories of the people, lenders are there. Different lenders having a different lenders policy, lending policies they have. A lenders are the banks always. The banks are working under the Banking Act, National Housing Act and the Banking Act. Banks are working on it. But beyond that level, if the bank have more money, banks are balance sheet lenders. Based on the balance sheet, they are allocating certain percentage of the money they are going to give out the residential mortgage, certain percentage for the construction, certain percentage for the commercial. They have to do the balance sheet. If they have money, they don't give out, they lose money. Then they balance sheet lender. Based on the balance sheet lender, they have restrictions, openly restrictions for outside and inside. They have a leniency for many case by cases, and a lot of things are there. Lot of things out there for the mortgage industry. Mortgage industry is not a one straight rule. Case by case always. That's the word they are using it to go for qualifying the mortgages. I know one of the time I applied for the mortgage for Rishani. He's a new lawyer. He's a lawyer running the law firm and everything. So many things. The banks are giving hard time. They said no. When Kanan applied from the CBC, case by case basis, within 3 days he qualified for the mortgage more than the limit we asked. Mortgage industry are case by case. No, don't think if one mortgage broker said no, don't stop it yourself. Do the hunting side. Go for a hunting and find, you will find it. That's what I answer exactly. B lenders are mostly, based on my knowledge only, it's not 100% right. The banks are funding it. Banks under the banking rule, they can do, their hands are limit, but they want to lend more money for the mortgage industry by passing the banking law. That's what I believe. I may be wrong, guys. And they have a secondary financing B lenders group. We can say one of the time MCAP and home trust companies, the President Choice. There are so many things we can talk about. The primary, then when they go to the next level, why the banks not qualifying and go to the next level? That means credit score, income, qualifying rate, self-employment, so many things there. What is the punishment? What is the cost? Interest rate going to be high interest rate. You're going to pay in the more high rate, high interest rate, and you get the mortgages. That's the way it's work. C lenders, if I am right, I can call the C lenders, maybe Kanna could correct. They give their own insurance. If they don't have a 80% financing, you're going for the 15% financing, they go for 20%, 80% finance, 80% loan to value in one level mortgage, other 5% in another level of mortgage. I believe those are the one we call as a C lender side. Some people, they have their own insurance. They give their own insurance and charge money. And the private mortgages, one of the good private mortgage companies, I can say, MIC corporations. We have MIC corporation. We are doing for last 4 years. At least this year, according to Kannan statistics, we closed at least 20 transactions from our office. We never charge any extra compared to other people. That's been our agents made money. At least 20 agents made money rather than giving up the deals from our MIC corporation, guys. Interest rate is higher because our investment, now we are giving out the investment return. If somebody want to invest, you can invest. We can give some bonus point before December. 8% interest we are giving out if we have money rather than paying the bank. Banks are GIC bank. I saw GIC's increased to 3.75 right now, but used to be GICs are less than 1%. But we are giving out 8% interest, return of investment 8%. But we are also giving out mortgages minimum 8% charges, 8% charges for the first mortgages and the lender fees. And the private mortgages, the advantage for the private mortgages, there is a major advantage. You can tell your clients to go to the private mortgages. This is the time they buy the house for the bigger price value. They may not going to qualify the mortgages under the banks. because the interest rate is higher and the income ratio and everything. They can even go for the private mortgages and holding for 1 year and they can switch it to somewhere else. Private mortgages doesn't show under the credit bureau. That's another advantage. They can buy, if they can make the income, they can buy any limited or any unlimited houses under the private mortgages, private mortgage categories. Then you can sell people they already have. If they can't qualify the mortgages from the regular banks under the private mortgages side, they can qualify. Doesn't show under the credit bureaus, and easy to qualify the credit bureau. We check the credit for the private mortgages companies, and the same time the only reason we check any revenue Canada Revenue Agencies, collection and other stuff. But I want to come back to again now the major question everybody calling me and asking me about the mortgage side, fixed mortgages versus variable mortgages. Yes, we all know, guys. We all know that one, the bank, what happened to the bank prime rate. And one of the agent also sent me the question. I'm going to the right time to discuss this question because it's related to this topic, as well as I can explain. I continue to explain. But his question: why is the bank prime rate is 2% or more higher than the Canada's overnight prime rate, overnight interest rate? The question is here, bank prime is different than Bank of Canada's prime. Bank of Canada's overnight interest rate. There are two different things. Bank of Canada's overnight interest is the margin for everybody. We know, we are talking about this one many times. From the January, February month, we saw the Bank of Canada's interest rate 0.25, almost zero. Now, everybody we know, 3.75, 6-time increase in Canadian history. We are standing in the Bank of Canada overnight interest rate 3.75. What is overnight interest rate means for? Two things. Bank to bank give the loan. One bank giving the loan to other bank. CIBC giving the loan to Royal Bank giving the loan to CIBC. That's what they do. Every big billion and billion dollars, they are transferring the purpose. Plus the commercial banks, meaning regular banks who are running the bank under the Canadian Banking Act, borrow the money from the Central Bank of Canada. That's overnight interest rate is 3.7%, 5%. Banks, if they are getting the money from 3.75 overnight interest rate, they cannot lend the money with the same rate, then they lose. They set up their own prime rate. Today's Royal Bank prime rate, I did check it up. I confused a little bit about the 5.95 and 7%.
5.95. Majority of the banks are prime rate is
5.95, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I did check it out, but there are some places showing 7%. I know it's 5.75. Sorry, 5.95. Today's bank prime rate, based on the Royal Bank, I always follow. But all the banks keep the same way because they don't want to have competition between them. But they can have a different one. The regulation doesn't stop them. 2% higher, 5.95. Based on the 5.95 prime, when you go for, they're going to go for fixed rate mortgage based on how many years fixed and based on how many products you have in the bank and the variable rate. What are the terms and conditions you're going to get it? Based on that one, they are giving out the mortgages. Today's rate, what is the basic rate for the variable now? 5.89?
5.45. You know, the interesting part is, Salvana, when you started today's conversation, you started off by stating that the rates are starting to go lower, or it's going to go lower very soon. You know, the funny thing is we're actually seeing that right now. All major financial institutions the last 2 weeks indicated to the mortgage brokers and agents that the rates are going to be decreased. Right now, I can tell you 4.99 is the variable rate offered at TD. And you know what? That's not publicly known to everyone right now, but that's what they're offering, 4.99. This is for a great client, great credit score, and etc. But what you're looking at on average, let's just say 5.5%, maybe a little less than that for a variable at the moment. And fixed rate is hovering around the same amount.
Guys, there is always case by cases magic is there. The reason Bank of Canada's rate 5.95. How much discount they're going to give? Last many months, the discount only 0.2%. That's why I asked Kanna now 5.8 because I saw it by 5.8 for a while. He's a mortgage guy, then he knows every day's update. But he said it's for 5.49. And the mortgage, reason the prime rate is different than the Bank of Canada rate. They have a discounting based on your wealthy, this discount based on how many products you have in the particular bank. Are you only going for the bank for the mortgages, or you already develop customer, valid customer, and so many things are there. But my advice for these days, go for short-term mortgage with the variable mortgages, short-term mortgages, because don't go fixed mortgage. If you go fixed mortgages, you cannot switch it to somewhere else. You may end up paying big penalties. My advice, I'm going to leave it to Kanna to end this one. My advice for this one, go for a variable mortgage, short-term mortgages, and keep it. Whenever time comes, lock it for the fixed rate. Kanna, you continue?
After you put it that way, there's really nothing more to share, because that's exactly the advice all industry professionals are stating right now. No point going in for a fixed term. Stay with the variable. Yeah, there will be an increase on December 7th. Yeah, there may be a potential increase after January 25th, the first discussion of for Bank of Canada next year. But overall, we're going to start to see a reduction in the rates after Q3, Q4 of next year, of 2023, and definitely in 2024 if we don't see it in 2023. So keep it with a variable. Survive the storm as it is, but don't fix at the moment if you are getting a new mortgage, or if your clients are getting new mortgages. Why? Because we do know that the rates will be decreased by the Bank of Canada in the years to come. So if you want to go for a fix, then short term, 1 year, 2 years. Majority of the banks are giving 3 years at a very good rate, but still, we wouldn't advise you of that. Stay with the variable, and overall, you'll be at a better chance of lower interest.
Thank you, Kanna. We already passed the time. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We passed our target timing, but still taking another 30 seconds. We're going to have a meeting. The office meeting. We're going to have it on the Wednesday evening at 6:30. This office meeting. Before the Christmas party, I always inform everybody to understand. I don't want to have any complaint after the award night. What are the award categories? How the award presentation is going to go and everything. I want to make use of your time other than the award night. I'm bringing the engineer Dayabaran, the engineer Dayabaran to discuss about the legalizing the basement apartment. Because Engineer Dayabaran is coming to advise for you guys how to legalize the basement apartment. That's one comment. Plus, last week we all know Ontario, what do you call, Auditor General of Ontario. We go to the different sectors and give the report. They went the real estate sectors, and the real estate sectors, 56 pages of report. They're recommending for the RECO to for the future. Then I'm going to go for the summary of the Auditor General report. That's the first thing I'm going to start at 6:30. I'm going to after that one we're going to talk about the other side, and we're going to go for the award night presentation. How we're going to do? We're going to do as a new members, and what are the award categories? So other few things going to do. Coming Wednesday. There's no Zoom. I want you to come in person. There's Zoom, no Zoom. 6:30 p.m. in our training center. See you guys Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.